Right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon. Jen, do you want this?
I do.
It's vibrating.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I got it. Okay.
You're skipping a sexy salad, Marlo. So I'll tell you guys about that later.
That on my own.
So my name is John James. I'm the managing partner of Ignited Results, and we are a full-service digital marketing firm located here in Reno. So what we do is we specialize in helping you increase your leads and generate sales using LinkedIn. Now, I'd like to begin by asking you guys to consider a new paradigm, a new way of thinking about your social media network. I'd like you to consider the paradigm that your social media network has real value that increases over time, just like a regular asset, no different than a piece of rental property. So just like rental property, when properly managed, will increase in value over time and provide monthly income to you, the same thing can happen with your social media network when managed properly. It can produce a monthly income for you in terms of new clients and new referrals. Does this make sense? This is something I am very passionate about. In fact, I write about this all the time. In your blue pamphlet there's an article that I wrote 3 weeks ago for Forbes. Now, the reason I'm sharing the article with you that I wrote for Forbes.com is because it goes to the heart of today's discussion. You can reference the article later on, and it's going to give you some ideas when you combine it with the information that you learned today about how you can create an unstoppable supply of leads and build relationships using LinkedIn. Okay? So at the end of my short talk, I'm going to invite you guys to go out to the back table, meet with Jen or Lori, and book a one-on-one consultation so that we can get together. It's a real consultation. It's very strategic. We're going to look at creating a lead generation blueprint for LinkedIn, for you guys to use LinkedIn. Make sense? Okay, everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. So let's take a look at our overview and discuss how you can build an unstoppable flow of leads using LinkedIn. Let's go. So this is our overview. I'm going to have you guys out in time so that you can make the next session. So for about the next 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes, here's what we're going to discuss. Social selling. Who's heard of social selling? 3 people. Okay, 4 people. So social selling is a newer tactic being discussed, or a newer strategy, I should say, being discussed in the social atmosphere. Even in today's main session downstairs, I noticed that social media was discussed without LinkedIn. You see, LinkedIn is the sleeping giant of social media. Most of you think of what when you think of social media? Facebook, right. But in terms of business-to-business connections, LinkedIn is where it's at. I'm going to go into some details about this in just a bit. Oh, let's back up one, Jen. There you go. Okay. We're going to talk about the power of your professional versus your personal relationships and how to increase the value of your network. And I'll get into a bunch more things. How to cultivate your network, which is probably the biggest and most important part of today's topic, is not just having a social media network, but actually cultivating that network and creating relationships. Okay? All right, go forward one, please. So I've been featured on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox News sites. I write regularly for Forbes. Forbes has what they call the Forbes Agency Council, meaning they take the top digital marketers from around the world and they invite you into the Forbes Agency Council. And then with that, I write for Forbes usually about weekly. So if you Google John James and Ignited Results and you click on news at the top of the search results, you'll see a bunch of those articles there, in addition to the one in your chair. Okay. So 4 rules of the day. Number 1, let's have fun. 2, I'll give you 100%. Please give me the same. 3, let's be interactive. And 4, I need you guys to promise to take action. Deal? Okay, now when I say take action, I mean the information that I give you today is twofold. You can take it and use it and implement it on your own. Okay, I do my best to give you that much information that you can take things home that are actionable and you can use it on your own. In addition to that, I'll go into a little bit of detail about our done-for-you service if you want someone to manage your network for you properly. Either one is fine, but take action, okay? So let's do our first test. 1 or 2 of you have seen me play this game before. Jim's already getting ready. He just knows, you know. He just knows. So this is a $20 bill. Okay, this $20 bill goes to the first woman or man who will exchange this with me for $1. Wow, that, Gail, I love it. That is the fastest ever. That is the fastest ever.
You're going to allow to exchange the message. I was going to do it, but I wanted everyone to see the message.
Right. Well, you know,
Can I get the message? Maybe not.
She just enhanced her results, you know. But hey, I'll tell you. The point of doing that, though, is that when we see that, because I saw like the look on about 4 people's faces around the back, you know, and it's kind of like, or everyone, you know, we go, is it too good to be true? Is it real? Is he serious? You know, and we're analyzing, you know, and then there's another third of the group that says, well, yeah, you know, and they're looking for the money. And then there's the other third of the group that goes, oh, I got this $1, but should I? And then boom, someone else just seizes the moment. Okay? So the point is, when you recognize opportunity, seize it. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by giving an effort? Absolutely nothing. Right? Okay, so please keep that in mind. There are so many opportunities. I got 2 emails today, another one from Randy and our client Tim. Blew me away about the relationships they are developing through our system on LinkedIn and the actual money that it's putting in their pocket. Okay, for those of you that saw me speak yesterday afternoon, you saw one of our clients here. She's an ambassador. She spoke about her results where we've tripled her revenues in, well, about 93 days now. Okay, so the stuff works. All right, let's continue. So can one connection triple your revenue? Is it possible? One connection on LinkedIn. Okay, let's go forward 1, please. This is Dr. Erin Oxel, Erin Oxel. I try to say it the way she does. She is a psychologist and a peak performance coach. She actually coaches a lot of real estate agents. And Erin met one person on LinkedIn, one person. This lady was on the board of, I forget what it was, a very important person. And long story short, she referred Erin to the right person who Erin now speaks around the nation, coaching real estate professionals in peak performance. She is now a best-selling author. Last year, she won Saleswoman of the Year for the state of Nevada. All of this came from a single connection on LinkedIn. I can tell you a dozen stories. I can take the next 30 minutes and tell you 12 more stories just like that. Okay, so if you guys aren't utilizing LinkedIn and leveraging it properly, then you're missing out. Okay, make sense? All right. So Dr. Erin, before LinkedIn, she developed her relationships the old way. Now she's using the new way, which is what we call social selling. Okay, how many of you guys want the new way? Okay. I'm just making sure you're awake. Let's go forward. So before I go into the new way, I want to tell you the old way, because I want you to be able to clearly distinguish between what you're doing now and if it's the old way before we elaborate on the new way. Make sense? Okay, so here's the old way. Friends and family. That's the old way to build relationships or rely on like those people for referrals, right? We all do it when we first start out, but how far can that take you? Okay, next one, pay-per-click ads. Pay-per-click ads on Google or Facebook can be effective. I am not saying that they do not work, because they do. However, in your industry, anything related to real estate or around real estate is so competitive that it becomes very costly to run a pay-per-click campaign on Google. Does that make sense? Okay. Number 3, BNI meetings. This guy right here doesn't get up at 6 a.m. for breakfast meetings. It's not going to happen, okay? It can be effective too, but that's the old way. There's an easier way to do things, okay? And then finally, cold calling. I've got a buddy in New York, he's a cold calling beast. The guy is a machine, all right? But there's an easier way. There's an easier way. Okay, so our system builds your authority on LinkedIn and magnetically pipeline. Authority is first. I'm going to elaborate on that in just a second. But you have to position yourself as an authority before you start doing any marketing. In fact, you should just go ahead and write that down now if you're taking notes. You should position yourself as an authority before you start doing any marketing whatsoever. Okay? I'll tell you why in just a second. Authority positioning combines perfectly with social selling. Now, social selling is the new way. Social selling is how Erin became a best-selling author, 10x'd her revenues, and now she's speaking around the country. Social selling is basically when you're on LinkedIn, you're connecting with people, you're sharing information, you're nurturing that lead by sending them useful information over time, and then finally, you change the environment so that they meet with you in person, or over the phone, or online for a video chat, or they show up for a seminar or a webinar, okay? Sky's the limit. I'm going to give you guys some ideas for events that we didn't have time to go into on yesterday. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, all right, let's go forward. So why LinkedIn? Okay, when it comes to social selling, you want to be using LinkedIn. 80% of all business-to-business leads now originate off of LinkedIn. That is a fact. Your top business-to-business marketers only use LinkedIn. 41% of millionaires are on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, people will talk to you. They want to have a business conversation with you on LinkedIn. Okay, that's why it's so powerful. So we're going to talk about how to spruce up your profile, build your authority on LinkedIn, and then start social selling. Make sense? Okay, let's go forward. So I want you to write this down because this will sum up the heart of today, and then we'll revisit this a little bit later. These are what I call the 3 ABCs of LinkedIn. Number 1, always be connecting. Always be connecting. Number 2, always be cultivating. And number 3, always be closing. But it happens in that order. First you connect, then you cultivate the relationship. From relationships, sales automatically come. From the relationship, referrals automatically come to you, right? What's the best source of business? Referrals, right? But referrals are not really a source of business. They're the best type of business to have, you're right. But referrals come from relationships. And this is what I have to do my darndest, bestest today to drive home to you is I challenge you to use social media to build relationships, because those relationships will increase your income. Does this make sense? Okay. 3 secrets to building an unstoppable flow of leads. Step number 1, position yourself as an influencer. Number 2, cultivate relationships. Number 3, targeted lead generation. Targeted lead generation. So let's go forward and look at these in a little bit of detail. Number 1, authority positioning. Go forward 1, please. Here's what we mean. To position yourself as an authority, you need a client-facing profile. Okay? So your profile on LinkedIn, when was the last time you updated it? 10 years ago? Ooh, that's honest. Oh, that hurt. Who else?
Never.
Never? Okay. So, when you created it. Okay. So see, people think of LinkedIn as like an online resume. It's not that anymore, especially since Microsoft bought LinkedIn. Okay? It's not just an online CV or resume. LinkedIn is a social selling tool. So your profile should be client-facing. What that means is that your photo should be professional. Your banner image should not be that typical LinkedIn blue. You know, just that plain blue image. It shouldn't be that. If you change that image alone to something that speaks to your field and your authority, your engagement on LinkedIn increases 23%. A proper headshot, another 21%. Then you spruce up the summary, now you're over the 40 percentile in terms of getting people to engage with you. Your headline message, this is something we cover in our one-on-one sessions, okay? Your headline message, it should talk about how you help the client. That's what we mean by client-facing. I'll give you an example. I have a client here in Reno, well, he's in Carson City. His name is Jock, he's a real estate agent. He's doing really well. We started his campaign on LinkedIn. It took less than 1 month. And Jock said, you know what? I'm getting a lot of leads really quick. And he said, but it's week 3. I didn't necessarily get a sale, but I got a new renter. And that renter should turn into a sale in about a year. But he's referred me to someone who wants to buy property. This happened in 3 weeks. Okay? So, but his profile, here's my point about a client-facing profile. His headline said, I help engineers buy real estate. That's client-facing. He chose a niche market, engineers. Who's your niche market? Okay? On your yellow sheets of paper, it asks you to identify who your target market is. I'd love for you to write that down before you leave here today. Who's your target market? You should be thinking about your target market. Because it might seem counterintuitive for a Jock to outline only engineers, because you might think, well, God, you know, is he selling real estate to anyone else? Of course. He still has a license. They're not going to walk away. But by him identifying engineers, guess what? Right downtown, right there, in one of the hotels, there are 2,000 people living there who can't find a house because they work at Tesla. Tesla's brought in all these engineers. Guess who they're talking to? They're talking to the local real estate agent who specializes in helping engineers. Brilliant. This came out of our strategy session. That's why I'm saying today, really take capital from this conversation and book your strategy sessions when this is over. Let's go forward 1. Publishing articles on LinkedIn. This makes you an instant authority. LinkedIn has what they call LinkedIn News. You write an article, pop it in there, all of your connections get a message. It says, what's your name, sir?
David.
It says David was featured in LinkedIn News. It says your connection was in the news today. Okay? Now when your followers or your connections see this month in and month out, does this build your influence? Absolutely. Does it build your authority? Let me explain what I'm talking about. Let's look at it like this. So this is a $100 bill.
Got all of them right
Oh, geez, that's what everyone, okay. So, do I have, who has a 1? I'm not exchanging it, I just want to know. I just need some help for the example. Who has a 1? I'll come to you. I'll take the 20, the 4, okay. Thank you. So, $1 bill, $100 bill, okay? Now, what's the difference? I mean, they're roughly the same color, okay? They weigh the same, right? They kind of even smell the same, right? You say one's worth more, right? Zeros, right? The difference is only the branding, the package, right? One has far more influence than the other. Is this true? So, instead of just being the real estate agent or the insurance agent or the whatever who is like everyone else, you have to package yourself to have more value to the people that are connected to you. Does this make sense? Okay? You do this through articles, and you do this through creating your own group inside of LinkedIn. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. You want this one? I'll give it to you later. So here's how you create instant influence, right? Here's how you stand out from the other people that are in your field. Go on LinkedIn, and this is a big deal because we usually only talk about this in paid workshops, like workshops where people are spending $1,500, you know, and we're just diving in really deep. Create your own group on LinkedIn. The second you go inside of LinkedIn and you create a group, what happens is you have automatic influence. You have instant influence with the people you're connected to. Because when a connection request goes to these people, what they see is, okay, so Leilani is the founder of XYZ Group on LinkedIn. She's not trying to sell me something. She's the founder of a group. She's probably got information that's valuable to me. Does this make sense? Okay, so please turn to your neighbor for 30 seconds before we go to the next section and share what you've learned so far. Okay. 113.
I don't know what mine would be. I'm still thinking about it.
Your group?
Yeah, like what I would sell, like your whatever guy, John.
We'll come up with. It will come up with one.
But first I need to change my broker.
Okay.
Oh, don't let us get to it. No, let us get to it.
No, I want you to get to it. I am not good at this, so I'm just like, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah. I'll come up with the group name.
Go.
Yeah.
I'll ask you like 40 questions, and then we'll have everything that we need.
And it's so fun. It's just so
You all right, Jim?
Am I okay?
I love that. Okay. I actually woke up thinking about some of the stories you told me yesterday. You blew my mind. You really did. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. When we get together, we'll really.
I could very easily.
Right. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay, so when you get a hold of this, I can't even imagine. Okay, everyone ready? All right. Anyone want to share anything? Yes.
So my name is Cam Grant, this is Oscar, and I'm a loan officer. Oscar is in inspections. And both of us had a common realization that LinkedIn isn't a resume source where, a lot of people are recruiters in particular are going to be scouting to hire. We both have a common goal that we just learned, that we want to increase our social media footprint.
Nice.
He just created Instagram.
Okay.
He's also been on LinkedIn recently. I don't have a LinkedIn, and I will get one now.
Okay, good.
I do have Instagram, and about a month and a half ago, I created a Facebook.
Nice. Nice. And you're both loan officers?
No, he's in inspections.
Home inspection.
Got it. Okay, got it. Awesome. Okay. Anyone else? Leilani.
Tyler shared that he knows someone, should I quote the brokerage? Yeah. Berkshire Hathaway.
Okay.
Although I'm Century 21, I was like, okay. He only uses Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Okay.
Because I was ready to do all the cold calling I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it apparently, so maybe will help me.
Yeah, he does it through social. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. All right, let's go forward. This is my favorite section. This is what I wrote about in that Forbes article. This is like my favorite part. It's the most important part, even though I already said that about another part, but still. Maybe the other part was the most important, and this is my favorite, okay? Cultivating your relationships. So let's go forward one. When you're connected to people on LinkedIn, especially if you're in any type of industry where you're selling something, you want to cultivate the relationship. You need to make the connection, and then through a series of targeted messages, you're cultivating the relationship by changing the environment from the social atmosphere to being connected in real life. So we have coffee, video chat, one-on-one lunches. If you're holding seminars, it could be first-time homebuyer seminars, 1031 exchange seminars, whatever the case may be, how to stage your home for sale, different workshops. You want to cultivate those connections in the real world, okay? Now, there was one guy, I'll tell you a quick story. He wrote a book called Never Eat Alone. In the book, he talks about when he was a younger guy in New York, in Manhattan. He had a small apartment, okay? And every Thursday, he would have folks over for dinner. 4 of them he knew, 5 or 6 were just random people. What happened was, he would do this every Thursday. He got to know more and more people. His influence got stronger. He was kind of broke in the beginning, and he didn't know how to cook. So he would just have like pasta and meat sauce, and a couple of people would bring wine. That one strategy he leveraged into what is today a $100 million consultancy. Okay? So I'm not saying it doesn't take work. We can we can generate the leads, we can target the market, we can do all the messaging. Like, we do that extremely well. We can do all of that. But then you got to put in the work and actually cultivate these relationships. Okay? So it does take some work, but it pays off handsomely. Sometimes the work is limited to just having a telephone meeting and talking to somebody. Okay? But we create the environment so that you're in that situation to take advantage of those opportunities. Is there... Who asked Cam? Was that you?
Yes.
Okay. Sexy. Wow. So that seems to be the question that people want to know about Sexy Salad. Just yesterday and today, though, it might be your industry. Because nowhere else, they're like, oh yeah, coffee. How do we do coffee? So, Sexy Salad is, the first one I went to was in Oakland. And there's a long conference table, and the Oakland Impact Hub is a business hub. So they invite all these business owners out. And you stand around the table. The host, which would be you, provides all the lettuce and the bowls, right? All the guests show up, and they provide the fixings. The tomatoes, the cucumbers, the walnuts, chicken, raisins, whatever. right? They provide the fixings. And you can bless the meal or not. They did like a Native American kind of ritual before everyone started eating. It was a lot of fun. And if you're the host, you give a 2-minute spiel and everyone breaks bread. It's beautiful. When you actually see it in action and experience it, it is so beautiful. In your businesses, does this make sense? Is this something you'd consider doing? Is this something that you could see that would actually turn into real relationships that convert to dollars and cents? Does this make sense to you? Absolutely. Okay. I know it does because it works, you know, and I would bet you there's no one in your backyard doing it. But I would bet you that if you did it month in and month out for a year, oh, come on. And who do you invite? You invite people, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit because this goes into the targeted marketing, but you invite people that can be sources of referral for you. Invite business brokers or inspectors or carpet cleaning people. I have a carpet cleaning client who refers tons of business to real estate agents, okay? Invite CPAs. Different people that are in non-competing businesses, but they're parallel and they can refer leads to you. That's who you invite. And you engage these people monthly using any one of these strategies. You're gonna win. You're gonna win. You'll be here next year and you'll be the people saying, oh, social media does work. I actually can look at my network, watch it grow daily, and I know that from X amount of new connections is going to come X amount of people at my event and then X amount of deals. It is quantifiable. It is an asset if you manage it properly. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, next one. On your yellow sheets, write down your target market at the top, please. In the middle section, please write down what point B would be. Now, what we mean by point B is any of the things on the previous slide. For example, you might invite people to a lunch and learn, a sexy salad, it could be coffee, but write down what you think point B should be for your market, okay? And writing something down is the beginning of creating any reality. So you're here, you may as well take the time to really focus inside of your business. So, quick show of hands or just a little bit of feedback, what do you think point B would be for you? Yes?
Actually, vendors and merchants locally that I live in.
Okay, so you would connect to vendors and merchants, and what's going to be, let's go back one slide, what's going to be your point B, your cultivation strategy? Coffee, lunch, sexy salad? Coffee, okay. Lunch, okay. I'll tell you a super quick story. 33? 23, okay. So we're moving along. I'll tell you a super quick story. There's a book called Ask by Ryan Levesque. And in the book, he tells a story about a young kid who graduated Stanford. He goes a year without employment. He goes on to LinkedIn and he says, hey, I see we both went to Stanford. And I see that we both live in San Francisco. Would you like to get together for coffee to see how we can edify each other's network? In 1 month, he had 25 coffee appointments. And he got 85 job offers. Can you do the same thing for your business? You know, all you have to do is connect with the right market. All right, let's go forward. Targeted prospecting. Now, in the example I just gave, the gentleman who was using the coffee strategy as point B, in his case, he did a strategy that we call the mutual affiliation or the mutual. He said, hey, I see we both went to Stanford, right? I see we both live in San Francisco, okay? There's so many different ways to play with your messaging. When we do our one-on-one session together, we're gonna explore what your messaging should be and who you have affinity to, who your niche markets are, etc., so that we laser target like a Navy SEAL. Does this make sense? Okay. So, targeted prospecting. This is the meat of it right here. Identify your target market. You can do it based on affinity, niche, or referral potential. That's what I recommend to business owners. Target based on affinity, niche, or referral potential. You want to send out about 5 to 12 messages on LinkedIn. Spread them 3 weeks apart. That's how you get the highest engagement. 27% increase in engagement, spreading the messages out 3 weeks or so apart. Okay? Not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Don't do that. They'll disconnect. Okay? Spread them out. And then finally, invite them to meet with you in the real world. That could be phone, video chat. We have one client in Singapore, and so point B for her is a video cup of coffee, a virtual cup of coffee. She gets on Zoom, she does a video chat, they literally sit there and have coffee, you know, and she's on the other side of the world. But she's killing it through LinkedIn, okay? All right, let's go forward. You're gonna need Sales Navigator. If you haven't heard of Sales Navigator, go into your LinkedIn account. At the top, you just click on Solutions and purchase Sales Navigator. This is the tool that you need in order to do all of the hyper targeting. Sales Navigator.
Can you explain more?
Yes, so in Sales Navigator, you can target people based on net worth, income, gender, industry. There's over 100 different verticals and different ways that you can target. Okay, it's a very powerful tool. You can track your leads, very powerful. So you're going to need Sales Navigator to be very effective at social selling.
How much does it cost?
I believe now it's $65 monthly. Okay, worth its weight in gold. And please, be fearless about investing in your business. I mean, be fearless about it, okay? Because if you're doing it properly, you're gonna have a return on investment. Make sense? Okay. Next. So this is our framework for our messaging system. I usually don't give this away. I don't usually put it on a slide, but initially we're sending out a connection request followed by a thank you. After we thank them, we send information that's useful to them. Then we share an article that we created for you guys, or you would share an article that you created for yourself. Okay? After that, now you've nurtured that prospect. Now you're ready to invite them to Cultivate, to a one-on-one session. Does that make sense? That's the sequence. That's very effective. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Super quick 30 seconds. I want you to share where we are because we just finished 3 sections. Share what you've learned, please, with your neighbor. That way it sticks, and then we'll go forward. We have until 45.
Fishing for salmon.
Chris? Nice. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Okay. Everybody learning something? Okay. Is this information, is it beneficial? Okay. All right. You guys ready? And if you haven't written down your target market and how you're going to cultivate the target market, what point B is, please do that as well as we wrap up over the next 10 minutes. Okay, let's go forward one. This is Steven Anderson, just to drive the point home a bit further. I like the story. This just happened last Thursday. Steve had initially, well, I won't say this part. Well, darn it. Sorry, Steve. No, he doesn't care. But initially, Steve, he was kind of like, geez, who are all these people? Why am I getting so many connections? I'm like, well, man, that's the point. He's like, well, people want to talk to me. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the point, So we kind of revisited the foundation, and then it was like, oh, okay, that's right, I remember, I get it. So last Thursday, a bankruptcy attorney flew in from Vegas here to meet with Steve, and they put together a referral arrangement. Okay? So,
I love that.
yeah.
And divorce attorneys, right?
I believe it's a bankruptcy attorney.
But divorce is probably even better.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
She just found her target market.
Right. Actually, that would.
Rhett, did you guys go to Rhett? Yesterday, he was talking about, it's sad, but it's 50%.
Actually, no, that actually is a very, very effective target market, because we can just connect you with, imagine having coffee with 3 divorce attorneys a week.
Yeah. Okay, that's my idea. Nobody else use it.
So, okay. Now, you're going to have coffee with folks, right? You're going to have lunches. It requires an investment. Money's disposable. It just circulates. You don't really spend money. Jim knows this. You just circulate money, right? It can't be spent. It just circulates. So don't be afraid to put it into your business. Let's go forward.
If that's the case, can I see your $100 bill again?
Yeah, let's circulate that. Let's circulate it. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, just circulate it all the way back around until it's like 200 when it comes back here. So here's what we've covered this past hour. We've talked about how your social media network is a real asset. We've talked about how to increase the value of your network, targeted prospecting on LinkedIn, establishing yourself as an authority before you start marketing, okay? Cultivating the relationships so that you generate leads and actual referrals and new sales, okay? That's what we've covered so far. A good use of your time today?
Yes.
Okay, let's go forward. If it's okay, what I did for this session was I put together a special offer that you guys can take advantage of today or just lock it in for the future. Okay? Is it okay if we go over that for about 5 minutes? Okay. One more. So here's what's included with our social selling service. So we start with a 1-hour strategy session. It's a real strategy session. We're going to talk about different markets you have affinity to, how to position you as an individual and make you an actual influencer. Okay? We'll talk about who to target on LinkedIn and what your point B is going to be. Okay, how you're going to cultivate that relationship. We set up your entire foundation inside of Sales Navigator with all of your lead generated lists, etc. We brainstorm 10 article topics. That way my team populates an editorial calendar for the next 2 or 3 quarters. And you know when your articles are going to be published. Okay? After that, we create a client-facing LinkedIn profile. My writers, we have 12 content writers. They will rewrite your profile to make it, kind of pop, right? Give it some punch, okay? Make sure it's client-facing. They will also rewrite the headline message. After that, we join you into 3 or 5 targeted groups, because just by joining groups can also help you establish influence. And then after that, we actually create your own, well, actually, after that, we write your articles. Your articles are what position you as an authority. We're publishing articles on a monthly basis. For some of our clients that are, we publish once a week. It just depends. But in general, it's once a month. And we'll go for it one more. Here's the big one. What we do is, if you heard Randy yesterday, she gave a testimonial about us. What we do is we reach out to 35 to 50 of your targeted prospects daily. Daily. We literally inbox daily through LinkedIn. Okay? That is a very big deal. That's like someone doing 35 to 50 virtual sales calls a day, just connecting you with those target markets. And then when you're connected, of course, we start sending out the messaging sequences that take them from point A to point B, meeting with you. Make sense? We're going to publish you guys. We're going to do a news release so that on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox News sites, we'll do a news release. Those articles will show up on those sites. Whenever we do that, you get a distribution report. It'll have about anywhere from 200 to 400 news sites across the country who ran the story, and you can literally click through the report on various channels to see the site. Okay, sound good? It's a lot of value. Next one. One more. So let's run through this one last time, and then we'll all the way down. Discovery session, your foundational setup. We do the articles. We create the editorial calendar. Then we start publishing articles each month. You have the bonuses where we create the leadership platform and the ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. Is this something you guys are interested in? Is it? Okay, good.